Hey Queens, and welcome to a very special edition of Hey Qween One-on-One with me, your host, Jonny McGovern. We have an up-and-comer in the studio today, honey, an independent artist who, during his short career, has already amassed 10 million views on YouTube and 5 million streams on Spotify, sweetie. I'm talking about the one and only Rilan.
Hey. How's it going?
Hey, Queen.
Hey.
Welcome to Hey Qween. Here you are.
Thanks for having me.
I love this jacket.
Thank you very much. I made it.
Yeah, you did?
I did make it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't see what I want anymore in like stores, so I figured I just have to pretend like I'm George Michael walking out of a leather bar and kind of go to town.
That is a look that I can get behind.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's kind of my go-to these days.
I bet. Now, you just got back from New York?
I did.
You're doing a big promo tour?
I was, actually. I played a lot of the club circuits. I did Rise Bar and Monster and Club Cumming. Had some radio interviews up there. Yeah, it was great. It was like 3 shows in less than 48 hours. So
you got to make it happen.
You really do. You just got to make it work. And I really enjoyed it. I love New York. It was a good break from La La Land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you just had your latest single, Love or Drugs?
I did, yes.
Oh, really?
Really, for real.
Now, tell me about that. I hear it says it's a satirical take on life and party culture in L.A.
Pretty
Tell
much.
me about the process of making that song and why that was what you wanted to put out.
Well,
to
you
the
pretty
world.
much got to pick one. You got to pick love or drugs.
Right.
Because you're going to go out and you either want to get effed or get effed up. So you got to, I mean, honestly, you usually don't get both. So, yeah, I mean, I was always like the weird kid growing up. And when I came to LA, I was like, oh, this is like the artist's haven, you know? Everyone's going to, I'm going to fit in. It's going to be great. Like, weird kids are celebrating. It totally isn't. It's like, maybe it was years ago, but I think social media has totally changed it. And it's kind of made it very superficial. And, you know, people are famous for not being famous at all. So it's that kind of, you know, satirical take on that area of the world that we live in now. But yeah, so it's just kind of about how I don't really connect to a lot of people going out, and it's, you know, my little shtick at Hollywood, if you will.
Right, and of course now to promote the song, you have to go to all the clubs.
I know, right?
Late at
It's
night,
funny.
take selfies, and do all the rest.
It's super funny. I mean, that's kind of the best part. If you can get the people that you're making fun of laughing with you,
Right.
then I think you're winning.
You're like, thank you, I just read you all. Good night.
Exactly. The library is closed.
Now, I can imagine how LA, you know, might have made a big impression on you because you're not from LA, you're from New Orleans.
I am.
right?
I'm from New Orleans.
Now, how does being from New Orleans influence your music, your style?
Yeah, it's funny. I honestly thought that everywhere was like New Orleans until I moved away. And I realized that nowhere is actually like that.
Yeah.
It's like a really weird, old, dark, like almost European style city. It's super haunted, which probably explains why I am like the king of darkness, if you will. I have a super dark sense of humor, and like everything that I do kind of has this like antiquity and creepiness about it, if you will, but still in like a pop light. And like musically, there's so much there. It's like jazz and hip hop and top 40 and bounce music, which people are now starting to kind of
Finally, they're getting
I
in
know.
on.
I was like, I saw Big Frida in high school all the time. I go to her Tenet Jazz Fest all the time. It was like my favorite thing ever. So anyway, there's like a big, you know, melting pot, like our gumbo, if you will.
That's right.
That kind of makes up New Orleans and makes a super interesting place to grow up. And I think it kind of shows when you see like my performance and my videos and my songs. It's super theatrical and just kind of out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, were you a performer as a kid?
I was a total theater kid.
Yeah.
Like a total theater nerd. I loved it. I did like every show, and I used to do like regional and traveling theater growing up.
Really?
But,
So
yeah.
you were like you were giving me child actor tea.
I was, yeah, like Macaulay Culkin, but like a little bit more functional.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah, so yeah, we kind of did that, and then as I got a little older, I realized that I kind of wanted to sing what I wanted to sing about, and dress how I wanted to dress, and you know, sing how I wanted to sing it, and I was always a little too like pop for theater, and then a little too theater for pop when I got out here. So it was just kind of I pretty much said, F it, like let me just be me, and that's kind of what's actually been working, thank God. So.
Now, you kind of consider yourself an outsider.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
that begin in high school? Because I can imagine if you were a theater kid, making your own clothes
Yeah,
like you are
exactly.
today, that's not always easy to fit in.
Not quite. No, I mean, I was always the Outcast. I think even before I realized that I was the Outcast, if that makes sense. Like I went to the same school from pre-K all the way to senior year of high school.
Girl, that's hard to
It was
get rid of some of
awful.
that baggage.
Oh man,
no
man,
time
I
to
was
go
like,
away and change it up.
No, not at all. Like everyone knows your first, last, middle name, your first boyfriend, girlfriend,
Right.
your name of your first dog. Like literally, it's that close knit. And it's like a super small conservative private school. And then there was me,
Wow.
who was like not the athlete, not the nerd. Like I was the theater kid, and everyone wore khaki shorts and polos, and I tried it. Believe me, I tried it, and I wanted to burn the polo and me in it at the same time. And then finally, I just kind of said, this is who I am. I'm gonna wear my Hot Topic skinny jeans and like all my thrifted jean jackets and things that looked like they were falling apart, like I was on the inside. I kind of realized that it was better to just be the outcast because I was much happier being myself and not part of a group than trying to fit in somewhere where I definitely didn't belong.
You didn't need a sweater thrown over your
Not
shoulders,
at-
some khakis are like, no.
Barf. Yeah, no, I just wanted to like burn the whole country club down. So that's kind of me throwing a wrench in everything.
Now, when you were alone in your room in high school, fantasizing about getting the hell out of there,
Yeah, of course.
who were the artists that you were listening to that you were influencing you?
Well, I grew up in a time when it was like Britney, bubblegum, like that was my introduction to music.
Yeah.
But my parents always played older music, like, well, not older, but like their music, which was Madonna, Bowie, Prince, George Michael, Boy George, basically like 70s glam rock meets 80s synth pop. Like that's what I loved. And I had my mom's Walkman growing up before I had a CD player.
Yes.
So all the kids were like, what the hell is that? And I was like, history. That's where I kind of found my voice was in my unholy trinity, if you will, Madonna, Bowie, Prince. It was super theatrical, and I think that's why I went into theater, was because I saw the parallel between pop music and what they do with, stage culture. As I got older, though, I kind of found darker synth music. I loved Marilyn Manson. I loved Soft Cell and Nine Inch Nails, my angsty teen years, if you will. And then when I was in middle school, Gaga came out, and I was like, holy shit.
You were like, rah, rah.
I was all in it. I was like, I'm going to become the biggest monster you can find. But she was pretty much that definition of the 80s superstar that used pop music to bring theater about. So since then, I was like, wow, there is a path for it. And in the past 5 years or so, it's kind of died down. Everything's become super vibey and very trendy and kind of hip hop driven. And
Girl,
clearly,
mid-tempo as fuck.
I don't
It's so
believe in
boring.
mid-tempo. I don't believe in it. I was like, music should excite you. It shouldn't put you to sleep. Like if I want to go to sleep, give me a Xanax and like I'll pass out. But I don't want to be drugged up. I want to be, heightened and
living.
Yeah, exactly. Feel good about music. So that's kind of where I step in.
Now, when you graduated high school, you dabbled in college, right?
Yeah. That's
and
a good
you said,
word, dabble.
Girl, I'm gonna say no.
That's
to
exactly,
high school,
yeah.
to
And
college.
I was shady as hell in college. I went to a small music school in Nashville for 3 months.
Okay.
And then I was like, peace.
Gotta go.
It was funny. It was actually a Christian school, which is very strange.
Honey.
Listen. I tried to get the hell out of Dodge earlier, but I grew up in like a very traditional family, so they were
Right.
like, college, that's where you go. And I was like, I want to do music, which isn't like anything related to college. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be there for 4 years, and then I'd go off and start new here, So you kind of have to dive in and strike while the iron's hot. But I look like Satan's child walking around that campus with like my eyeliner and my black nails and my like emo self. And then finally I got some opportunities because I'd always come out here to dance and to record growing
Right.
up. And someone called me up and was like, hey, are you relocating to LA? And I was like, yeah, of course. Mom, Dad, I'm relocating to LA. So yeah.
So then when you arrived here, you'd been here doing a little bit of stuff, but living here,
Right.
fresh out of high school,
Oh, yeah.
is
So
different and a lot. Tell me about
It really
that experience.
is. It was a culture shock. Again, I thought everywhere was like New Orleans, which is like super warm and fuzzy, still like quirky and weird, but everyone kind of likes being different, and it's kind of celebrated there. It's like the little safe haven of the Deep South, if you will. Kind of like Austin, but just a little better. So yeah, no, it was nothing like that. I mean, right when I moved was the start of the whole Instagram craze. So that was a scene in itself. And so I thought that, going out to music shows and finding musicians was kind of my way of finding my group of people. But it really wasn't a lot of musicians and artists. It was people who kind of wanted a title, as opposed to actually putting in the art, if you will.
They wanted to take a picture with a guitar at the show to look like they did it.
Because if you do it in your bedroom, it's real, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah. So it was difficult, but eventually I found my voice really, and my group of people and my friends are who I create art with, and that's kind of what all my friendships are based on now, which is kind of what I dreamed of growing up.
That's the most fun.
It really is.
You have your friends and you're creating stuff. It becomes part of your relationship.
Yeah, my best friends are my colleagues and my co-creators.
Love it. Now tell me about Glee.
Yeah.
You zipped right into a job on Glee when you got here,
actually.
right at the right time.
I really did. I made it in the last season.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, good, got it.
That's something to really grasp because that was so huge.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I mean, the funny thing is, like I said, I did theater growing up all the time. So I would fly out here for auditions for Glee, and this was my 5th time auditioning when I actually booked it.
Wow.
I'm sure the casting director was like, oh, hell with him.
Here she is again.
Yeah, exactly. Just take it this time. Just go. It's the last one. But yeah, it was funny. Like I always had a audition for named roles, and strangely enough, they were always the preppy kid, which is clearly
Very ironic.
Clearly me, just like it. So I would always dress up that way, present myself that way, and try to beat the part. And then this time, my dance agent sent me on the wrong audition, so they sent me to the actor call instead of the dancer call. So I showed up looking more like this, but a little bit more like instead of George Michael goes to the leather bars, more like George Michael goes to the gym. Okay. Maybe.
Yeah.
So
she's giving you a touch of sporty.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we can do it. We can pretend, can't we?
We can.
So so I showed up and I was like, there's no way in hell I'm gonna book this with everyone in their like slick back hair and preppy suits and everything, and somehow it happened by just being me, I guess.
Being you. Now, what's your favorite memory from working on that? There's a lot of stars,
I met
a lot of star power.
Well, Darren Criss was the nicest person I've ever met in my life, which is super cool to see him be so successful, like Golden Globe, Emmy. That's awesome. Yeah, he was so nice. He like didn't eat in his trailer. He ate with like me and the fellow warblers every single day for lunch, which was super cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, awesome. I met my best friend in Glee. Actually, he was another dancer with me. Yeah, it was super fun. I mean, I loved it. It was like grueling hours, like 8-hour rehearsals, and then like 18-hour shoot days.
Yeah, I can imagine, because that show, they were turning out episodes,
and
in each episode there were tons of production numbers.
Exactly, and they were like, okay, wrap it up, let's go. This is our last time. So, but it was great, and the overtime wasn't bad too. So.
Oh, I bet.
But it was a really good time, and one of the best parts about it was actually, while I was releasing music at the time, all of the fans actually gravitated towards what it was that I was saying, because I guess I kind of was one of those gleeks growing up. I remember watching it. It aired when I was, I think, in 8th grade or a freshman in high school. And I was like, holy shit, these are like kids that are just like me, on TV. They're like the theater kids trying to, break through and say something. And yeah, it was super cool meeting the fans and actually, having them come to my Instagram, which is the bane of my existence, but it made it worthwhile.
Is Instagram the bane of your existence?
A little. I mean, right now, yeah. I mean, I think Gaga had it right when she said it's the toilet of the internet. It just kind of like to me, there's a lot of filler, so you just kind of have to push through, But
swipe through.
Exactly, but there are great, great accounts like Hey Qween
But of course, honey, that's right. Now tell me about meeting Randy Jackson. And did you gag because you sat at home watching American Idol all those years, and then he wanted to work with you?
Yeah,
Tell
I was
me
like,
about
please
that.
be a yes for you, dog.
Right.
But yeah, it was funny. I mean, when I first met him 4 years ago when I was out here, because I did a lot of writing for other artists at the time, and my co-writer was close with him and was working with one artist that he signed. So we kind of went back and forth on songs that we were pitching for that artist. And then again, we went back maybe a couple times a year since then. And then last year when I got out of my other management deal, I was almost at the bottom pretty much. I was just kind of like, this is so hard, like I don't know if I still have it in me to continue to do this because it's just an uphill battle about like making myself happy and then trying to deliver something that other people want to, take a chance on. So,
yeah, rich people in corporations who are looking at numbers and figures, not
it's awful.
worrying about your artistic journey.
It's terrible.
That's very
it's
difficult.
terrible. I mean, right before I came here, I was watching a thing on Janis Joplin, and she got signed from one performance that she did for people in a festival.
Yeah.
And I was like, those days are gone, which is so sad. But you can sometimes cut through, and Randy saw me and always kind of saw me as a songwriter, and then looked at me and was like, "Oh, you're an artist," and he was like, "So what are you doing now?" And I literally just let it out. I was like, "This is so hard. I know exactly what it is that I do, and it's just not what's wanted." And he was like, "Well, let's change that." So
wow.
he hopped on board and actually really liked it and has given me some of the best advice I've ever had.
What was one of the
here.
pieces of advice he gave you?
Honestly, to like whenever someone asks me or him a question, like, should we do this? He always looks to me and he goes, what do you want to do? I was like, really? I have a say in this? And he's like, no, seriously. I mean, you're the one that has to deliver everything if you're going to do it. And so, the best advice he could say is like, be an artist. Don't think about those numbers. Don't think about, what people are signing or what's working, because what's working is trendy, but what lasts is art. So
He's right about that.
it's true. It really is.
Now, I mean, the stars just don't stop. Dallas Austin,
Yeah.
that's legendary status.
He is.
He worked with you on your EP.
He did. I love him.
Dallas Austin, if y'all don't know, Google it, hit after hit after hit. I mean, tell me about working with Dallas Austin.
He's a great one. I met him about 3 years ago through my same writing partner, Naz Tokyo. She worked with him in Atlanta during all of the era.
During the era, TLC, and I mean,
TLC
that whole moment.
And Madonna and Gwen Stefani.
Right, Madonna's Secret album. I mean, Dallas Austin has done all
it's crazy.
the stars.
I mean, I fell in love with him when he did Pink's Misunderstood album.
Yeah.
Just Like a Pill and Don't Let Me Get Me. I was like, oh my God, this is the misfit girl that they wanted to make R&B, and he stepped in and was like, no, that's not who you are. Do this. But he's awesome. One of the nicest people ever. Super humble, super cool, very quiet and soft-spoken. But you get in the room, and it's one of those things where you don't even have to explain to someone what it is you want to do. He just knows automatically.
What's the process of recording when you're working with a big-time producer? You have a song, you're a songwriter, so you've written the song.
Yeah.
You've given it to him. He says he likes it. Then what's the process of recording like? What's that? How long is it? What's the vibe? What are you saying back and forth to each other?
Well, it's honestly different with every person you work with. So one of the songs on the EP I wrote on keys myself, being a theater kid. And Dallas liked it and was like, I just want to produce this. Will you let me, trust me with my vision behind what it sounds like? I was like, yeah, are you kidding me?
Right.
Yeah, take it. Do what you want. I mean, you're a legend. And it was awesome because it was something I never would have thought that he would have done, or a sound that I necessarily would have heard when I was writing it. And he made it something great, and I loved it. And then other times you walk in and I just say, this is how I'm feeling today, and this is what I want to talk about. He's like, great, let's go. And we just honestly start basically yelling at each other, singing things. Yeah, and so you kind of find something that you want, and then you make a song.
You find that little hook.
You really do.
You keep it growing, and then you start to do it, and he lays stuff down.
Hooks on hooks.
Yeah, hooks on hooks.
Yeah, but
especially listening to all the music you've listened to, you know hooks.
Oh no, it's true.
You need layers and layers of
I mean,
them.
that's kind of what I think of now is when people are like, oh, well, this is a trendy song, this is this, and I'm like, there's no melody in it. Think of the songs that you think of that get stuck in your head. It's always a melody, and it's always something that people are actually saying. So, trendy music. I'm after you, trendy music.
Who is your dream collaboration?
Well, most of them are dead, so I'll let you know when I die.
Well, there's holograms that you
there
can do.
There are holograms.
Well, how about alive people?
Again, the lasting member of my unholy trinity would be Madonna. So I do love her. I think she's great.
Yeah. Madam X herself.
Madam X herself. And maybe I'll be at the Wiltern. I don't know. I love Gaga too. And then there's some artists that haven't had that much worldly success, but I love Marina and the Diamonds. I think she's amazing. I like Charlie XCX. I love Kim Petras. I think there are a lot of interesting pop girls that are coming up right now that should be available more. Yeah, they're great.
And they need duet partners.
They definitely need duet partners. Listen, ladies, I'm available.
He's right here.
I'm right here.
So what's on the horizon for you? What's your dream of where you're heading? Because you're on your way, kid.
Thank you.
What's the dream?
World domination, you know,
Yes,
that kind
good
of a thing.
answer.
Being contacted by the Illuminati.
Oh, aren't
You know
we
what
all
I mean?
waiting?
I'm just waiting, and I'm waiting for my bunker when the apocalypse hits.
That's good.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, pretty much just I'm making more music. I'm writing constantly, and it's been great because it's the first time where everything's been super positive. And while I'm the kid of the dark, if you will, I think the best music comes when you're actually, you know, believing in what it is that you're doing, and other people are there to support you in a positive light. So writing more music, I have more shows coming up this summer, and I'm looking, you know, to put together a larger work, whether that's an EP or an album. Yeah, it's coming this summer. So.
Are we gonna see some club gigs where you get your theatricality
You are.
on, dancers,
are.
lighting effects,
All of it.
interludes?
Haze, fog,
Yeah.
barf it, eat it up, all that stuff. Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, if I have to, you know, make my stadium tour, you know, your coffee table,
Yeah.
or a small booth at a club, so be it. But I'm gonna bring the theatrics regardless.
I'm in. I'll
Thank
be
you.
front row, sweetie.
Thanks. You got it. I'll get you a VIP ticket if I have to make it myself.
All right, that sounds good.
Thanks.
Everybody give it up for Rilan.
Thanks, guys.
Make sure to check him out, listen to his music, and decide love or drugs.